you feeling? Are you feeling delirious?
Maybe. I'm feeling, well, I got all my nerves out interviewing Rosie. So now this is post-nerve, maybe it's delirium. I don't know, we'll find out.
You want wine? I had 2 glasses of wine.
No, that's a bad plan.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Okay.
I won't do that. You can do that.
I don't need your permission. I've been doing it.
Great,
so.
perfect. Ready to go.
So we met a couple months ago, and you were telling me about this risk-taking or disruption, this thing about disruption tour that you were having. Disruption tour. And I just want to know, because you're a relatively young theater maker, okay? That's not a bad thing, it's just facts.
Yeah.
But what does it mean to you to be taking risks so early in your theater making career?
Well, I mean, I would also say that it was not like we were doing a disruption tour. This is what we're trying to do. It was
it just sounded more like metal to say that.
Yeah. But also it's I have this thing about, I never want to call myself a risk taker or whatever. Because for me that's when I see, and that's fine that other people are doing that for other reasons, but for me it's I kind of want that to be a surprise or something. I want you to come to a thing not really knowing what it is and be surprised by whatever happens. And I feel like it's advertised as a risk-taking performance or something. Then it's
then it's just over your head.
It's over your head, and it's oh, that wasn't risky enough.
Right.
Yeah. The question was, how do I feel about risk-taking?
What does it mean?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure, I don't think I'll ever figure that out, but I think it feels like the stakes aren't that high for me for a number of reasons. Because I'm young, because I'm a white dude, because it's not like I have an established reputation or something, that it feels like I can get away with more or try more things. There's less pressure to succeed or something. And I'm not necessarily trying to create a reputation or something. But it's also a question of what risk even means. I guess maybe I have my own thoughts about risk, but was there a certain...
For me, when I think about risk, what's at stake? What are you going to lose if you did this thing that you did or you have to do?
I think it depends. Sometimes, I mean, a lot of it is dignity, or it's wow, I really failed. I really don't want to talk to anyone after the show. But I mean, outside of somebody getting hurt or somebody's feelings getting hurt or something like that, which that is a different kind of failure. I think, I don't know what's at stake. And maybe that's kind of the fun of it for me right now, where it feels like I'm not doing anything to try to hurt anybody or to try to provoke some certain things that may happen in the process, but it's not like I'm not going to get the grant I didn't get. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to do that right now. So it is a weird place where it feels like I can try things, and also there's a little bit of this has not always been the case, but there's a little bit of the fuck it mentality where it's I'm just going to do what I am interested in doing with the people that I like, and that's what that is. That happened over a course of actually maybe a few particular incidents where it was wow, that failed, or also so I did works in progress for Red Eye here on the stage, and at the last performance of my piece, the majority of the people who I look up to in this town or in the audience, there are other fancy people there, and one of the performers' nose bled the entire piece.
Knowingly?
No. It started before we went on, and she's oh, it'll be fine, I'm just gonna plug it up. But it literally ran the entire 15-minute piece. So it was like all over her.
Like that wasn't part of the...
Oh, no.
Okay.
But what was weird was it maybe could have been. Like,
that would have been dope.
Yeah, I should have been like, oh yeah, it was like rigged through her nose. No, but at that point I was like, I mean, I also like walked on stage during the thing to hand her tissues. She was like coughing up blood. It was kind of nuts and magical, and she felt so bad. And I was like, no, that's I don't know what the fuck just happened. Yeah, for real. So at that point I was like, you know, if I'm gonna do this thing, like I can't want to impress these people because somebody's nose is going to bleed the entire time or something like that. So it can't be about that for me, what's at stake. For me, it's less about like what do I have to lose, but more like what can I get out of this opportunity? What kind of strange new relationships or ways of being with each other or things can I develop with other people? That kind of is what drives me to take risks. Where it's like doing something that I don't know. Wow, that was quick.
And we're done. More wine.
I lost it. My train of thought. What I can get out of it.
Relationships.
Relationships, finding new things. Oh, I guess maybe the reason why I like do this stuff is to do something that I don't know what it is, create something where I'm not sure how to interact with it, how to interact within it.
So like intentional mess?
Not
that it's
no.
a hot mess, but like is it...
Well, sometimes. But not intentional mess, but more, because for me it's like, there's a number of reasons for this. One is, throughout my entire life, I've had like pretty crippling social anxiety. So for me, art in some ways functions as a way to reinvent the way we interact with each other. In some ways, it like, I do enjoy the kind of roles and hierarchy that theoretically I should be resisting, because it like gives you, oh, I'm the director, you're the collaborators, we know how to do this. But then within that space, I think I'm interested in creating like, I don't know, there's been a number of times in rehearsals where we do a certain prompt or score, and at the end we're all like, what just happened? Like, what are the rules? Like, there are no rules. What is being a person? Like, breaking apart all the ways that we know what to do, and then what's beyond that is a question that I'm really fascinated by. Yeah. And the other thing was that I just get bored really easy of like conventions or of theater in general, but also just like the world. I was driving, but it's, I mean, like, I don't know. For me, rehearsal is like the perfect space because you get to try new things.
You get to play.
You get to play, for real. But like not necessarily in a way where it's like, oh, we're all doing the play game that we all know. It's like it's playing with play or something. That's what drives me.
Mm-hmm. You say you get bored of stuff?
Yeah.
What are you studying right now, or what are you keeping your eyes on right now in the like the American theater landscape? Like, what are you paying attention to?
Not much in the theater landscape. I'm interested. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot going on, but particularly in certain, I don't want to say communities, but groups of people or certain practices that already exist that are based upon sort of aesthetic or social or political experimentation. Like internet memes is a big thing that I'm into right now.
Yeah.
Where it's like people remixing, people creating these images and kind of aesthetic experiences where you're not quite sure what to do with, that you are not quite sure what to do with, whatever. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking. I'm looking at, I mean, you can just go down internet spirals, and for me that is, you find really crazy. I mean, there's all kinds of fucked up shit too, which is and it means even, there's all kinds of racist, bigoted think there's kernels in there and energies that a lot of times, particularly theater, doesn't look towards. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking. Also, like, I'm into, and haven't looked into it enough to like be able to speak on it, but I think my next project is kind of based on conspiracy theories and the way that people kind of reinvent reality in certain ways to try to align or make sense of the world, but in really kind of roundabout, non-logical, non-rational ways.
Okay, so what's a conspiracy theory that you sort of believe?
Oh God, I don't know, but that's not the for me it's like, not.
I just want to know.
I don't know, well, I don't know. That really caught me off guard, didn't it? Well.
I mean, I have the questions as a roadmap.
Right.
But we're right here right
it's
now.
It's a conspiracy theory that I actually believe. Well, but the interesting thing about conspiracy theories is like, often they do reflect a real thing, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, the government is spying on all of us. Or like, oh, you know, there's this, writer, famous, died of cancer. No. Okay, let me describe what they wrote. They were writing about the AIDS epidemic, and the fact that at the time, I think there were a lot of conspiracies about like, oh, the government like purposefully planted, you know, the AIDS virus in these places, or like they're not doing enough to, well, what it led to, or what her point was regardless of if these conspiracies are true, it still is like, nothing's being done about AIDS. These values are being reflected regardless of, you know, if there's actually a secret order trying to kill gay people or whatever. It's like there's still this energy or homophobia or whatever that exists. Yeah. So that's interesting to me. But then it's also like this whole Cambridge Analytica thing has been fascinating, and like, I don't know, seems like a lot of the crazy things that one might think about the government are like maybe real. And also it's that suspicion where it's like, what can happen in that space of suspicion? Terrible things, but also like, maybe there's a way to repurpose that kind of suspicion towards being suspicious of, you know, other institutions that are harmful to people at large.
Harmful. Do you think we should boycott Facebook? Because I feel like all those quizzes I took on Facebook helped to get my information out there.
Well, it's so hard because it feels like Facebook is how I find out about all the art stuff and like how I spread all the art stuff. So I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I think yes, but I'm not going to do it.
You're not going to boycott Facebook? What do you?
No.
You're not, okay.
I'm going to say boycott Facebook. But
And not mean it.
Yeah. Well, I'll mean it, but I'm not going to do it. I think everyone should delete. Well, I don't know. And that's also the thing about.
That should just be like your artist statement. That's your aesthetic as an artist.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah,
for real though. I found this journal that I wrote.
Because you're so disruptive.
No.
No, it's just like.
But I found a journal that I wrote like my freshman year of college, where I was like, the next artistic frontiers are hypocrisy and laziness. And I'm like, maybe, I don't know. It feels like there's something in there where the ways that we have to function are not consistent with our values or whatever.
When you said laziness, I thought of some artists whose work I saw, and I was not impressed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you got commissioned for this? I'm like, I can do this, right?
Yeah.
That might be my new thing.
Laziness?
Yeah. Like operate at 30% at all times.
It's a good experiment.
Yeah, that just,
But then you can't really.
no, you can't.
You've already got the
That's right. It's just what I play
get a grant that allows you to be lazy. It's like, just pay me and I'm not going to do anything.
I'm sure there's a grant out there for that.
Yeah.
I think they're called fellowships. Just y'all know it's real. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh yes. So I mean, I feel like I want to say you're classically trained because you did your whole theater thing at the U, right? And you got your degree in theater. So I feel like you know the work enough to push back on it. What real incentives do you have to go against the grain? Like to go against not the institution of theater, but like what is you?
Well, and I think too, it's like something I have been learning is like maybe there's not a coherent grain to go against. You know what I mean? Like it almost feels like we have to make our own grain to go against. There's so much that it's hard to resist all of it. You know what I mean? What are the incentives to go against the grain? Well, the pleasure of being sort of stumped, for me, in a safe space that's enjoyable, or even the pleasure of being weird, of using these conventions or trying to break past these conventions to do something else, for me is like exciting. I wouldn't say there's like a whole lot of monetary incentives, but maybe, I mean, to a certain degree, it does feel like in order to get seen, get known, get grants, you do have to place yourself up against whatever your grant happens to be. You know what I mean? In order to be different. Yeah.
Because I know, like, I've taken some theater classes, and instructors always tell us to be innovative and to be free as artists and just create what makes sense to us.
Right.
But then when we do it, sometimes they tell us.
Totally. Yeah, and I think that's for a multitude of reasons. But it is a question and something that I'm interested in, and something like in my artist statement, is that I'm interested in the ways that institutions shape the way that we think and act and feel. Where it's like, oh yeah, be creative, but in this certain box. And then that becomes what creativity is experimenting within these parameters. So, I forgot the question again.
It wasn't really a question.
But like, yeah, I mean, it's, I guess, a constant thing for me. Is like, how do you push against something, and then once that becomes something, how do you continue to push against that? Right now I'm really interested, though, in sort of going back to theater and like conventional theater, because it feels like, everyone was in a high school play, everyone has seen, a Red Romeo and Juliet, and that's not everybody, but a lot of people. And it feels like you can sort of trick people into thinking that you're presenting a play or something, and then do other things within that maybe hopefully get people to think about how they watch bodies on stage, or their expectations of certain bodies, or even just how certain emotions are portrayed, or those sorts of things.
After you present works like that, do you have conversations with the audience about what they just experienced?
Sometimes. I think often and something I've been getting better at, but am not there yet, is I want to like,
what is
hide.
this?
Hide. It's hiding.
Oh, you hiding?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought you meant to shame the audience.
No. It's like I feel shamed by my own, misdoings or something, where there's that moment of like, oh God. It feels like the real world is caving in, or like it's on top of you after you try to push against it, like falls back on you for a second, because the audience are all like, what just happened?
Right. Is that what you want them to ask at the end of it?
Well, it's interesting because I haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to like have talkbacks, and I certainly have talked to people after the show, but often it's like people I know, or people who come up to me. And I think talkbacks are a certain representation of the actual audience themselves. But people are often like, was it okay that I was confused during this? Or like, is that what, did you want me to be frustrated? And I don't know if it's just a matter of like writing in the program, like, it's okay, it may be okay, we're all, you know. But I really wish people could get past the like needing to be, and not entertained, but needing to like have a coherent experience watching something. Because then I feel like breaking that apart, something else can happen. And I don't know what that other thing is, but a rupture of rules, of ways of interacting with each other.
Is most of your work not forcing, but having the audience immerse themselves in the
No.
thing, or is it like a stage and then their seats?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's that. For me, that the immersive thing presents a whole other can of worms to open that I'm not necessarily interested in dealing with. And it also feels like there are certain things that make people feel like, okay, I can sit in the seat, I can watch this thing, and then, you know, something else might happen. But if you're in this like world where people are like crawling on the chairs next to you, and
How does that go?
you saw what I did. You can watch it. But for me, that presents too much newness to an audience. That's what it's all about. That becomes the novelty. It's like, ooh, what if I, you know, move your chair, or like, how do I break the rules of this play? Or for me, that's not something that I have pursued yet, or that I think I will pursue. But I don't know.
Do you think it's because you saw some stuff that was immersive and you're just like, nah?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, probably.
Maybe they did it horribly.
Well, and it's a question of what immersive even is, because that's become a thing.
Yeah.
And sure, I'm interested in like interaction, but I also think that's a very delicate thing to do. You know, theater with chairs and a stage causes enough conundrums as it is, and that it feels like I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
It's already a challenge to think of access points for people
Right.
to get to your work anyways already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for
What is
sure.
this other thing?
So yeah, they're not going to want. Well, and maybe they will, but I don't want to try to fit into that immersive box thing.
Right.
Immersive theater, particularly. And it's also like if you want to touch somebody, just like go on Tinder or somebody.
I thought you were going to say, just touch him.
No, but that's what it's, I mean, did you hear about the like
Red
Sleep No
flag.
More sex thing
The
that came
what?
out? So Sleep No More is the big immersive thing that started the immersive fad.
Is this the thing in New York where they have,
Yeah,
okay.
they wear masks,
Yeah.
everybody wears masks. And it just came out that a ton of audience members, you know, broke the cast because they feel anonymous. The cast is the only people without masks. And it's this space where ethics kind of do an interesting, weird, fucked up thing.
I don't know very much about that work.
You're like,
Were audience members told to not do that?
well, I'm sure. I don't know. You would hope that they don't need to
Like,
know
read
that.
your programs before you come in.
You can't
What's
actually
to say?
sexually assault.
Right. There's intermission and then don't grow people. Like,
I don't know. But that's something that I don't want to subject anybody to.
right.
So, yeah.
I think I would just go out of character and I would just have to hit somebody.
Right. Where it's like, but then it's like, don't you just want to do the play?
Don't touch me.
Well, yeah. So then,
But still, right.
my
yes.
response to that is like, we won't have that opportunity.
Right.
Um,
I'd be fired.
yeah.
I'd have to audition for other roles.
Hopefully not.
I actually have never auditioned.
Me neither. That's one reason why actually no, I have auditioned. But then I did it like twice,
Right.
and I probably like threw up before each time. I'm like, I don't need to do this, and I don't want to do this. So I didn't do it. And And I think that's something that's fascinating to me about theater in particular. I mean, it's the only real discipline that I've been trained in, but so we did this tour, and we also gave workshops everywhere we did the tour, and we'd start off asking the question, what's one thing you hate about theater?
And you would present this work at schools, right?
Yep,
at colleges.
Universities. So we'd ask, what's one thing you hate about theater and one thing you love about theater? And so often, the things that people hated about theater was like, oh, I hate that you have to I'm never going to play Cinderella. Or I hate that, we have to memorize the lines. And they didn't actually say that, but stuff like that where it's like, oh, that's just the way it is. And for me, that's just so, and I think I've had the privilege in a number of ways where I can see out of that. But I think that shouldn't be the case. For me, it's like, I don't want to audition. I don't want to make a show with a story, so I'm not going to do that. And that's okay. And maybe not everyone's going to like it, but that's...
Well, this is probably why, like me, my best friend and I, we just write it and perform it ourselves because we're not good at playing other people, other characters. We just play versions of ourselves.
Right. It's funny too, because in that last thing, we had somebody, the original show had 4 people, then we remade it kind of completely, but one of the people in the show had gone to law school, so I kind of had to take their part, so I was acting, and that was a whole new challenge. But, and now, well, it's fun, but because I kind of was like, oh, this will be my one chance to act.
To shine.
To shine, yeah.
To make it.
Right. Boy, did I make it. Yeah.
Is it possible to be innovative without taking risks?
Probably. I don't.
Like you stumbled into it.
It feels like innovative is something they will call you after 20 years of taking risks or something. It's like the innovative Robert Lepage is going to walk or something.
What does innovative mean to you?
I don't know. I think that's not something that I think about. Or if it is, then I'm like, don't think about that. Because for me that feels like that's the market trying to sell me, or myself trying to sell myself. Where, for me, I am interested in doing something that I've never done before and that I haven't seen anyone else do before. And if that's innovation, then great, but I don't want to call it innovation to try to get people to see it. You know what I mean?
When you do that, do you try to not master, but do you try to get better at it before you move on to the next thing that you haven't?
I think, well, for me, it's not really skill-based, so it's not like you can, but I think it's going deeper and becoming more articulate in the things that you're trying to do and to research and to the concepts you're trying to grapple with. It's finding out more through rehearsing, through experimenting, through doing exercises in rehearsal, those sorts of things. Is it possible to be innovative without taking a risk? What do you think?
I don't know, that's why I asked you.
Well, I don't know. I guess for me it's like a question of terms. And then it's like, that question doesn't feel like a question that I ask myself. Or I'm interested in asking other people,
Because what if someone has been doing something for a long time, but then they bring it to an audience that has never encountered it, so then it's innovative to that audience. But then is it still taking a risk to present it to that audience?
I think so. Yeah. I wonder if innovative is what people call a good risk or a healthy risk or something, where it's like, oh, that was successful, the audience liked it, that was innovative. But I don't know.
Like there's stickiness after the work's been presented, right? Like people at the audience get to go home with something. It stays with them. I don't know.
Could be, yeah, if that's what you want to call innovation, then I think, yeah. It feels like I just see innovation on Hewlett Packard commercials or something where I don't really want to Well, that's the thing too.
But
Actually,
I could build like a printer if there's like that movement exercise where you have people build a car with their bodies. Like I could do that. Like
Okay.
have
I did have a point that I was going to say about well, I've never built a printer, so that's a risk. For me, I think risk taking should have some consideration of like the larger field. And I don't know if that's an opinion that everybody has, but because like there's this well-known theater company that is known for being experimental, and this is an example I have. Makes all kinds of interesting things, but then their next risk was, they're going to do a Shakespeare show because they're known for,
What do they do normally?
kind of devised. They use playwrights. Sometimes they do plays by playwrights who like don't write in linear ways or use sort of interesting language. But they're like, no, we're going to do a Shakespeare show. And for me, it was like, well, okay, good. That's risk taking for you, but it feels like across the board that it has nothing. That doesn't feel like a risk. So I don't know. I think it's also finding a balance of like finding your own interest if you want to take a risk. Finding your own interest and how they align with what other people aren't doing, and then trying to do that.
What are you working on right now?
Well, so I just finished that tour of that show, which we only have, we got banned from one of the colleges, but
That's the best. It looks so good on your resume.
but it felt so bad. Or it was a whole shitty thing all around.
Okay.
Essentially, somebody took issue with the way we were marketing the show because they had sort of a past trauma, and then we couldn't perform it there.
How did you market it?
So, well, okay, I guess we're going into it. Here we go. So we brought the show there. We learned we weren't allowed to perform it in a public space because there was nudity in it. A public space being anywhere that's not like, well, then the next question was, can we perform it in the theater building? Because we were going to perform it above the library. They had some room that they used for theater spaces, but we couldn't do that. So then, could we perform in this theater space? No, because some of the students might call their parents, and because they were uncomfortable, and then the parents might get us in trouble, or might get the theater faculty in trouble. And we hadn't been properly vetted because we were going through a student group, so we couldn't do that. So then we're like, okay, we can't perform on campus. Can we do it off campus? And we didn't find, we were in a small little town. There weren't really any off-campus venues. Nobody's house was available for us to perform it there. So we're like, okay, we'll live stream it in one of the actors' cars, and we'll stream it through Facebook, and we'll perform it in the car. But to try to get people excited about that, because there was sort of issues with marketing in the first place, that people didn't really know we were there. So we're like, okay, well, here it goes. We'll create a fake Facebook profile, not of anyone in particular, and then we'll message a lot of the people from the school, it's kind of playfully but cryptically, and then eventually wind up telling them to come to the show, to stream the show. But somebody that we took that message had been catfished before, and actually twice. First time they were like kidnapped and beat up. Second time they had poop thrown at them. So they accused us of like re-traumatizing them because we were pretending to be someone we weren't. And then the student group got afraid that if we continued to do the live stream, then it would feel like we're like digging the knife in deeper into this person, and we didn't want to. It was a whole thing. So then we got kicked out. So, I mean, not kicked out, but we're like
Asked to leave.
Yeah. The first day we were asked to leave, though, there was a giant snowstorm, so we literally couldn't. But anyway, yeah, that maybe like people are like, oh yeah, art doing rebellious things, but it's like that we hurt somebody's feelings. We didn't get to do the show. It sucked, but yeah. So failure hurts. It's maybe the lesson there.
What would you have done differently?
I don't know. I mean, if we wanted to have done the live stream, we wouldn't have done
I mean, could you have just done the live stream in Minneapolis?
We could have, but like nobody at that college would have have seen it because we didn't really know
Right.
anybody there. We went through the possibilities. We were like, I don't know. We just decided there was a whole other. I mean, I don't want to get into it, but there's all kinds of other issues with that school that we were having. So we're like,
Do you think it's because it's in a small town?
possibly. And everyone was very afraid. They had like, sexual harassment scandals and racial things, issues in the past. And it's not like that's what we were doing at all, but like everyone was sort of on edge that somebody else would take offense to
Right.
what we were doing.
I think it would have been helpful if there were other partners involved, like maybe, like, the U of M has the Aurora Center, right? So,
Well, it's not like we were going to partner.
you know what I
with
mean?
the Aurora
You know what I mean?
Center,
Like, just to
Um,
help the campus navigate, I don't know.
Yes,
I'm just throwing
yeah.
stuff, it doesn't even
Well,
matter.
it felt like people didn't know how to talk about, I mean, and it's hard, but how to deal with contrasting opinions and emotions and conflicts. It felt like, oh, there's this conflict here, this person got hurt due to something that we didn't even really know we were doing. Not that we're not at fault, but so then we can talk about this, but it felt like, no, we'll just kick you out. So,
Yeah.
So
Y'all got ghosted.
that's just, yeah, I don't know. It was a whole, it happened within 2 days too. It was like a whole dramatic saga.
So you closed that show, that tour.
Oh, right.
So what are you?
So then I went on to do this other show here at the Red Eye, and then I flew out to Austin, which I have to fly back to at 5 in the morning tomorrow.
What's in Austin?
I am doing I'm doing admin work for Fusebox Festival, which is this great performance festival in Austin.
Okay.
So I'm there till April. So I'm not working on any projects right now. I have things bubbling, but I don't want to talk about them yet.
You don't want people to steal your ideas?
No.
It's not
I'm
that.
not ready to really talk about that. Actually, maybe I am. So the next project involves conspiracy theories, and musical theater, which is funny. Trying to derive a conspiracy or a number of conspiracies from the way that musical theater performers perform. Assuming that there's like something going on with everybody. I don't know. And not
Like there's a theater Illuminati or something?
right. Well, I mean, and what's interesting is it's going into the process trying to create this conspiracy, which is maybe how it happens, but maybe not usually. But then there's a number of other stages. First, I'm meeting with a conspiracy group. Then, who I have gathered. It's not like a pre-existing thing. And then I am trying to work with performers in town who are currently in musicals, and trying to have them articulate their thought processes of performing the entire musical. Because that's something I'm interested in too, is the way the thinking that goes into performing while you're performing. I think there's all kinds of interesting judgments and systems that one creates for oneself that maybe one doesn't articulate, but I'm interested in trying to get people to articulate that. So there's that level, and then there's a research trip to New York where I'm going to talk to Broadway performers, which is, I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I have
Just wait outside at the exit door.
Well, no, I mean, I have the connections to them, but it's like, I don't want to tell them, like, we know what you're doing, you know?
What are they doing?
Well, we don't know yet. I haven't
Oh,
met
okay.
them.
I thought you knew.
Do we know? No,
You don't know, no.
I don't know. But then there's the next step, which is the show that I will be making for that. And the actors that I really wanted to work with are not available. So I think I might be performing it.
Pay yourself double, right?
There's not going to be money
Oh.
from this, but
Okay.
we'll see. We'll see.
What is this called?
Well, I shouldn't. All right. So I
Talk it into clarity and.
I don't know what it's
cosmos.
called yet, but in my notes, so there's the Works in Progress program here, which is the 15-minute thing, and the thing after that is called Isolated Acts that I guess one person from the works in progress can get into the next year and do sort of a full length thing. So I was hoping, what?
That's cutthroat.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. But I was hoping that I would get that, and I didn't get that. But so in my notes, I call it isolated schmacks. But I need to actually give it a real name sometime, but I don't know what it is.
I'm pretty good with play titles,
Oh.
but not actually writing them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like a whole exercise
I'll
I
have
do.
to commission me with all the money that I'm going to get for this.
Yeah. You could just give me the money you're getting paid for this.
I
To
spent it
help
on
you.
the
Oh.
fly.
This might be in the same, this might be like a similar question, but, and you talked a little bit about it, but what's left to be explored? Because you say you're bored with stuff, and
Yeah.
it's not, I'm not saying that it's in like a mean way.
No.
but you
I think
want-
everything.
You want to be challenged, like what's left to be,
What is it? I don't know.
I don't know.
Something I would say everything, but I would also say that I am interested in trying to, because I've done a lot of like admin stuff for other artists and also technical work and things, so I get to see kind of the underbelly of everything. And I am interested in trying to find ways to extend the like values of what I think art should be through the entire process. Meaning, if I wanted to find those values, I think it's like generosity, experimentation, kindness, those sorts of things, which often aren't at every stage of the process. There are stagehands that are, working themselves to death, or there's, neocons on your board because they donate money. And for me, it goes deeper than that, where it's like, how can this whole process be artistic? So that's left to be explored, for sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you feel like you're done with theater? So have you ever felt that way?
I felt that way
there are
like
other
my freshman year of college.
Yeah, like there are other ways that your story could live, right? Other than in theater.
Yeah, well, but I kind of like, maybe it's masochistic? Yes, masochistic, but I kind of like the challenge of still calling myself, or calling what I do theater. Or being camouflaged as like a theater artist, but and presenting something that maybe looks like theater, but does things that's not about storytelling or something.
Yeah. Do we need to give it another name?
I feel like if I do that, then it's like, that's how I market myself. Which right now I'm kind of like trying to navigate and feel grossed out by the entire thing. But no, I don't want to. I also call it performance. I make performances. But I'm interested in the institution and the conventions of theater, because I feel like there's a lot in there that is to be examined a little closer. Less about like how do we tell these stories, but more about how are we like materially telling these stories with the body. What does it mean that we all use our hands this way when we're doing a monologue, or like why is everybody smiling when they're angry on stage? Like what is that about?
Cadence and rhythm and all that
Yeah.
stuff. I see this with spoken word.
Totally. It's like there's something, we've all been drinking this water that we don't know we've been drinking or something. For a number of reasons, I'm sure. But so I'm interested in kind of like getting in there and scrambling it. Because I feel like it creates a link where it's like, oh, I know how to watch this, but then it starts to break down, but you're still kind of like, what is going on? So for me, that's still theatrical and it's still theater. It's just not conventional theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to close out this interview with a meme, what would the meme be, and what would the words be? Hurry.
I think it'd be, 10 seconds. It'd be a picture of us right
Well,
now.
we're the last one, so we just keep going. It's
Oh.
fine.
No, we can't. That's me. It's
What?
a picture of us saying, let's keep going, and I say, no, we can't.
That's not gonna go viral.
Doesn't matter.